Latest football news,
engaging debates,
and fascinating opinions.
Pitchside Talk on IO Radio.
Well, welcome to Pitchside Talk, back on IO Radio after a little break, and a happy new year to everybody that listens to the show and all that. I hope you have a great year after, well, that year previous that we don't mention about now. That's gone. We chalked that year off. We're on to a new year. New year, new me, don't they say? But we don't talk about that anymore. But I am here once again, and I'm always joined by Dan, who needs no introduction because I've actually ran out of introductions really for him. I've run out of words that I can say about him apart from, well, Ipswich haven't played, so I can't actually sort of say anything bad about Ipswich once, Dan.
No, you can't. You usually make a comment about Ipswich at some point, but we haven't played. No, I'm pleased to be back. A new year. Hopefully this will be Ipswich's year. I doubt it, but let's hope so.
Let's hope so, because we want something positive to talk about Ipswich. We don't really have any positives, really. I think if you look at it, apart from Mick McCarthy's being sacked at his team at Cyprus, that's the only thing that's getting Ipswich fans really happy at the moment, which is a bit strange and weird. I hope, Dan, you're not one of those fans.
No, I'm not. I don't care. He can do what he likes. So we're past that now.
Oh, you're past that. Well, that's good to hear. Well, what have we got coming up in the show today? But before we move on to that, I better mention the social medias: Twitter at Pitchside Talk, Instagram Talk_Pitch, YouTube and Mixcloud, both at Pitchside Talk. If you want to listen back to any of our previous shows, you can listen back to our Christmas special. Yes, we did do a Christmas special, and unfortunately, no, I wasn't wearing a Santa hat. I'm sorry, I didn't have one of those in time. I couldn't get prime delivery on that day. But we have got coming up on the show today, we're going to be talking about Ipswich Town and what's been happening these last few weeks. We've had plenty of action happening off the pitch and none on the pitch. It's been a little bit of a weird time for Ipswich Town fans. The Premier League have had some twists and turns over Christmas, and we're going to be previewing the third round of the FA Cup. Yes, the FA Cup is back. The third round. I'm so excited because we've got some fantastic ties. I think ties that you would dream about and go, and when they happen on paper, you go, what? Yeah. especially one of them, Dan. With a Premier League side travelling down to the 8th tier of English football, which we cannot wait to talk about. When we come back, we're going to talk about Ipswich Town and what's been happening these last few weeks.
Stay up to date with the latest footy news.
Pitchside Talk on IO Radio.
Well, welcome back to Pitchside Talk here on IO Radios in 2021. Yes, we are in 2021, not 2020, that's gone. We're in 2021 now. With me, George, and Dan, as always, he's here, he stayed. I've made him sign another contract for another year. Another year, another season of shows. Is that right, Dan? We've got that down.
Yeah, we got it down on paper. Let's hope for the extension as well.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't write in the contract this time. An extra 12 months. I forgot to write down the tweet. Damn.
Damn it.
That's agreed verbally. But before we move on to what's coming up in the show next about Ipswich Town, we mentioned the social medias: Twitter at Pitchside Talk, Instagram Talk_Pitch, YouTube and Mixcloud Pitchside Talk. If you want to listen back to any of our previous shows. And now let's move on to Ipswich Town, who have had a strange few weeks, I think we can say, really, from an Ipswich Town sort of fan perspective. A lot of fans have even forgot Ipswich Town actually exist. This is how sort of that is. But it's been quite a quiet Christmas period for Ipswich Town, as their last 4 games have been cancelled due to COVID-19. Firstly, Peterborough called off their game due to a COVID outbreak at Peterborough. And then Ipswich called off the next 2 games against Northampton and Wimbledon due to a surge of COVID-19 cases at the club. 11 members of the club got COVID-19, including Paul Lambert, and 8 first-team players all self-isolating. And in the first game of 2021 against Fleetwood, which was pushed back to Monday this week because they wanted the players to have a little more time to train, which is fair enough, was postponed against Fleetwood after Fleetwood has several new cases at their club. But we did get some good news with all the players and all the coach staff testing negative in the first time back, and also there will be regular testing now twice a week starting from Monday for all 72 EFL clubs. But Dan, it might not be much action on the pitch, but quite a lot off the pitch.
Yeah, there has been a lot off the pitch. It's been a bit of a weird Christmas period because we're all so used to having Boxing Days of of football. I know there's been other football on, but it hasn't been the same, has it? Especially for Ipswich fans. No, I know that it's necessary to do this, and I'm pleased that everyone is, tested negative now, which, is a great thing. So we can, go back to playing football again. But, it's such a weird time that, games getting cancelled over the Christmas period. And I don't know, it made my Christmas a bit, it didn't feel like I was doing much, which I guess that's how a lot of people felt over this Christmas period. But yeah, a lot of things are happening off the pitch, which I guess we'll talk about in a minute. But it's been nothing on the pitch, and I can't wait to see our players back and hopefully getting wins after this break. I really hope that we can perform well after the break we've had, but you never know what will happen.
No, we'll never know what happened. But no, it's nice to have Ipswich back. I think it's been a little bit weird. I have to say so as well. Fans have to watch something called Premier League football. What is that?
Yeah, exactly.
What is it? But whilst you said that there's been no action on the pitch, there has been plenty off the pitch in Ipswich Town in the January transfer window. Yes, the transfer window has now opened, and Ipswich have done their first business, of the window, recalling El-Mizouni back from his loan at Cambridge United, featuring 15 times for Cambridge this season, scoring 0 times. But there's, according to reports, he's going to be going straight into the squad for the game against Swindon tomorrow. Another young player, Dan, being thrown into the deep end, but this time he's got a bit more experience. First in appearances playing for Ipswich Town, but his last appearance was a year ago in that defeat to Exeter City in, I don't know what they call. What do they call now? Is it the Papa John's Trophy, if I'm correct?
Yes, it is Papa John's Trophy.
Yeah.
Stupid name.
Yes, not a great name, but he's been thrown into the deep end. But is this because of, we've seen a lot of this now about players not having much match fitness? Got to think Ipswich haven't played in nearly 25 days. Not much match fitness in the players at the moment. Training's possibly not been happening. Also, the effects of long COVID is now a big talking point in football. We've seen it with clubs across England. Newcastle have still got players out because of long COVID. St. Maximin and Jamal Lascelles being two players as prime examples there. But is this why he's being called back here, to sort of fill that void?
Yeah, I think that's most likely. Obviously, after having so much time off, match fitness is going to be low, but for obvious reasons. But I think I'm not surprised that he was called back at all, really, in this January. And I have no complaints about it, because what I've seen from him, he's a great player. I think the loan spells he's had out at Cambridge have really helped him. I think the Cambridge fans like him. I remember after the first loan spell he had, he got that injury, but he scored that free kick. I can't remember who it was against, but yeah, he scored that free kick and he was performing well. I think maybe he wasn't getting that much game time in the second spell, but I think we've had games off and there's injuries still in that midfield. We've got quite a lot of players out. Low numbers in that midfield. I think that was the most. That was the best thing to do to bring him back, and I won't be surprised if he starts tomorrow, because of how the squad numbers are quite low at the moment. So let's see how he does. As you said, he might be thrown in the deep end a little bit, because this has happened quite quickly. He got recalled the other day, and now he's going to start in League One. So he might be a little bit affected by that, but I think he can rise above that and perform well, because he's a really good player, and I hope he does well tomorrow if he starts. Yeah,
I hope he does well as well. But I think it'd be interesting to see a midfield of Dobra and El-Mizouni. Imagine that.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
That sounds kind of exciting. That sounds a bit exotic there for Paul Lambert, but could that possibly happen? Where would he play? Would he play in the midfield? I know he can play a little bit on the wing as well, if I'm correct.
Yeah,
he can play on the wing. Yeah. What do you expect from him?
I expect him to play in the midfield. I expect him to play of the more number 10 role, even though, I don't know, Paul Lambert doesn't really like to play that way, but I think El-Mizouni naturally likes to get forward, so I imagine he'll be like Dobra. He'll try and push forward from that midfield when he's playing there. It will be interesting to see if we play Dobra and El-Mizouni in the same team, as you said. I think that looks, an exciting prospect. These two players. Dobra, he's really exciting. I think he's performed well in the few games that he had before the break. He started in 2 or 3, didn't he? And he performed well in them. So I think he'll be in around in the team again. And it'll be interesting to see if he starts with El-Mizouni. Because that just seems exciting to me. But I do expect El-Mizouni to play in midfield. He can play on the wing, but I think we're okay in that area. I think we've got a few players coming back. I don't know how long Edwards is out for. I think he's maybe soon. I think. But yeah, we got Lancaster, and even though I don't like Judge, he'll play there as well. So I think we're okay in that area. So I expect El-Mizouni to play midfield because as I said before, the kind of low numbers we have in that area of the pitch. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what formation, what lineup he goes for tomorrow. It's going to be a bit obvious what formation he's going to pick, but yeah.
Well, it'd be interesting to see who plays because he did say about the cavalry is returning. We do know there's a lot of players returning in this month as well, so it'd be interesting if some of them actually return and if some of those young players will be mixed in. But we'll have to wait and see until tomorrow. But Ipswich Town are looking to add a few players to the squad in this window as well. As Lee O'Neill has said on the club's website, they are hopefully going to add 1 or 2 players to the squad, but they face a massive challenge with the new salary cap, which they are currently on the ceiling of the 2.5 million budget. With Lee O'Neill saying about bringing young players as they are looking at on loan as an avenue there, but they are going to possibly be doing a degree of juggling. I didn't realize that was a degree you can juggle, but they want to possibly look to add somebody over the age of 21, but they will explore that option. But Dan, what do you think to this? Do you feel it's just will bring somebody in January, or is this going to be more callback players? Because of this salary cap they are on the ceiling of it. I think one more signing and they will be over that by quite a lot. But there is talks about this player Luke Thomas from Barnsley, a winger, possibly coming in. Looks all right player. We don't really know too much about him, but it could be quite exciting for Ipswich Town. Another winger.
Yeah, another winger. I don't really know much about him, but he's at Barnsley. I expect it to be a short loan. As you said, the salary cap is going to have a massive effect, and I think that's why we need to get out of this league quickly because that's going to affect us. But yeah, it's going to be difficult to bring anyone in on a permanent. I really do. There might be some free transfers available to try and help. I don't. Ched Evans has been linked, hasn't he? The controversial player that he is.
Well, he's now transferred to Preston North End.
He's transferred to Preston, now. Which is no. Well, it was quite surprising when I saw that he was actually going to Preston. He's 32 years old now. But anyway, let's not talk about him.
No.
Yeah. Obviously, it's going to be difficult to bring anyone in, but I do expect there to be a few loans. Whether it'll be from the Premier League or the Championship, I don't know. But I reckon there'll be a few young players coming on loan, and I think we do need some help. I don't think the team is, especially with all these injuries we've got, the squad depth isn't great at the moment. I think bringing anyone in really would help. And it's Luke Thomas. I think that'd be a good signing if we brought him in, a winger. He looks okay on paper, and I don't see anyone complaining about that. I think that'll be a fine signing for us. But I think we need to look into bringing a few more players on loan just to help us. I know loans aren't the greatest because obviously after the end of the season they'll be going back to their parent clubs and we'll be stuck with the squad we had before. And with the contracts ending, a lot of contracts up in the summer, it's going to be interesting to see who we let go and who we keep. So yeah, I do expect some transfer business. I hope there is some, because I don't think with this squad, with the squad we have at the moment and the injuries that we have, it isn't looking good, is it?
No, it's not looking good at all. And as you said, there's a lot of contracts up in the summer, especially Greon Edwards' contract's up in the summer. Get him signed on now. It's just, come on, Marcus, get your pen and paper out. Get him signed now. Come on, we need him here. But you said that about the squad needs improving, but what one area needs improving the most here? I know they're going to bring in another winger, but it's a little, I know it sounds bad, but I think it'd be a little bit pointless bringing another wing because they play midfielders on wingers anyway, and they've already got one winger already on loan in Bennett. But if you could bring in a player into one position, where would that be and why?
That is an interesting question. You know, we've had a lot of complaints about how our defence is at the moment, but I don't know. Maybe we could bring in someone to help in that area, but I think we got enough players in that area. I'd say, in my opinion, I think we need a striker. We're not scoring goals at the moment. Norwood, he just gets injured like that. I don't know what's going on with him. He comes back for like one game and just gets injured immediately. Jackson, he's not really scoring goals, but he's not really been playing in that way, is he? Hawkins, he's all right. I don't think he's anything special. We didn't bring him in to be a goal scorer. I think he does his job, okay. Drinan, he's looked quite good when he's been on the pitch, but he's not scoring goals either. So I think we need to bring in someone who can score goals, even if it is for half a season on loan, a youngster from the Premier League, just someone who can score goals, because that is really where we're lacking at the moment. We need to score. We're relying on goals from elsewhere on the pitch, and I think that's only good for a certain amount of time. Midfielders aren't going to score forever, and I think we really need someone who can score goals. So I'd say striker. I think most people agree with that after what I've seen from Twitter the last few days. I saw some polls about that as well. So yeah, I think we need a new striker in.
Yes, well, we'll have to wait and see. Well, it's his first game in 25 days after beating Burton Albion 2-1 at Portman Road. That sounds like such a long time ago. Where's time gone? But
I know.
They are back at home, first time of 2021 playing against Swindon Town, who have only played twice over the Christmas period due to COVID-19 and a frozen pitch. Yes, you heard me say that right, a frozen pitch. I've not heard
in
about
League
that.
One.
Yeah, I've not heard about a frozen pitch in a long time. But
no.
Things have looked very bleak for Swindon Town this season. Only one win in their last 7 games. 1 point from those 7 games as well, seeing them sit in 23rd place. And the last time these two sides met was back in the 93/94 season, back in something called the Premier League. Never heard of it. Apparently it's a small little league where it ended 1-1 at Portman Road. But Dan, it's great to see Ipswich Town finally back on the pitch. Will they cruise to a victory here, or will Swindon defy the odds and sort of show they've got a bit more match fitness at Ipswich Town? Because we don't know how Ipswich is going to play yet. We don't know how fit the players are.
No, we don't. And I think it's anyone's guess what the lineup's going to be, because I just don't know. But you'd say we're favourites going into it. I know we've had a bit of a break off, and the last game we won, but it wasn't a great performance. So I think it's going to kind of have the same formula as that. I think we'll probably play poorly, but somehow win, because we seem to do that. We seem to be able to beat the teams lower down. They're second bottom, I believe. So I think we'll do enough to win the game, and I think it will be a 2-1 win, like it was against Burton. But I still think the performance won't be there, and I just think we'll be talking about papering over the cracks once again, because we'll come up against a big team and lose. So I'm going to say 2-1, but not a convincing performance.
Okay, well, a 2-1 victory for Dan there for Ipswich Town. Well, let us know what you think. Will Ipswich win? Let us know on Twitter at Pitchside Talk, and we'll have a read. I'm not really too sure. If I had to sort of say something, I wouldn't want to predict the score for this. I think it's sort of the biggest unknown, really, because you don't know how it's going to play. Yeah. You don't even know who they're going to line up with. That's how great it is at the moment. But when we come back, we'll be talking about the Premier League. It has some twists and turns this week. Only 9 games played, but we'll get into that a little bit later on.
Pitchside Talk on IO Radio.
Well, welcome back to Pitchside Talk here on IO Radio. It's Fridays at 5 p.m. Happy New Year, and the first show of 2021. 2020 never happened. It's now 2021. We've skipped 2 years. Hey, joining me this week with me, George and Dan, as always. And before we move on into the next part of the show, I better mention social medias: Twitter at Pitchside Talk, Instagram Talk_Pitch, YouTube and Mixcloud, both at Pitchside Talk. if you want to listen back to any of our previous shows. And now, Dan, we're moving on into the Premier League. All right, that's finally back. Well, not finally back. We've had it over Christmas. It's been an interesting Christmas period, I think we could say, for Premier League games. Sort of a lot of controversy in games that happened, a lot of controversy in games that didn't happen, and why like should football have a circuit breaker? That was a hot topic for the time being, but has died down for the time being. But this week we had 9 games as Burnley and Fulham was suspended due to Fulham reporting more COVID cases and a player breaking COVID rules. So they decided to suspend their second game in a row after last week's game against Tottenham did not happen as well. But this week we had 27 goals, and here are the results from January the 1st to January the 4th. So starting off with the first game, Everton versus West Ham. That finished 1-0 to West Ham. That's David Moyes' first win at Everton since May 2013 in a 2-0 victory over West Ham. Huh? Yeah. Bizarre.
Weird.
Very bizarre. Manchester United won 2-1 against Aston Villa. Bruno Fernandes right now has been involved in 19 goals and assisted 14 of them in his first 30 games as a Manchester United player. And only Andy Cole has done more in Premier League history in 30 games.
Wow.
What a signing. Yeah. What a signing. I can't believe I just said that live on air. What a signing.
I know.
Tottenham won 3-0.
Finally, we've got him to admit it.
All right. Okay. Before we're going further, I have just admitted that. I'm sorry. Tottenham won 3-0 against Leeds. That's Tottenham's first victory of 2021 and ending a winless run of 4 games. And Leeds, that's the first time this season that Leeds have failed to score in an away game. How mad is that? Crystal Palace won 2-0 against Sheffield United. Sheffield United are now the first team in top flight history to fail to win the first 17 games of the season. The last time that I've done that was Baltimore. It was back in 1902 to 1903. Sheffield United, you need to change quickly. Brighton George 3-3 with Wolves. Arsenal won 4-0 against West Brom. West Brom were the first team to concede in consecutive Premier League home games 4 goals since Wigan back in August 2010 when they lost 4-0 to Blackpool and 6-0 to Chelsea. Arsenal have earned 9 points in the last 3 games, and in the last 13, they only earned 11 points. What? Newcastle lost 2-1 to Leicester. Chelsea lost 3-1 to Manchester City. God, I'm losing it, Dan. And then Liverpool lost 1-0 to Southampton. But Dan, starting off with Manchester United. Since losing back to Arsenal back in October, Manchester United have been flying, picking up 26 points from 33, more than any other side in that period of games, seeing them going joint top with Liverpool with a game in hand as well. It's crazy to think that not so long ago, back in September, we was talking about Solskjaer's job. They were sitting 15th. We were saying, should he still be Manchester United manager? But how crazy this season has been. I'm going to have to ask you the ultimate question here. Can they do it? And will I be moving to Papua New Guinea as well?
Maybe you will. It's a possibility. You can't say it isn't now. Back then I was talking about how Solskjaer has to be sacked and bring Poch in and all that stuff. And since then they've just completely turned it around. I don't know where it's come from. It was such a poor start to the year, and we're all like, "Oh, Man United are going to be the banter club this season," and they've just completely proved everyone wrong, haven't they? The results they've been having has just been brilliant. In the league, the last time they lost in the league was against Arsenal. When was that? That was in like November, the start of November. It was in October, was it?
Yeah.
That's a brilliant record, and with the way they've been performing, I think they deserve to be there. It's good to see it's kind of a tighter fight this year. This season has just been mental, hasn't it? It's mental how close it is. And I think as a neutral, looking into the Premier League, it's really good to see. But yeah, I don't think you can rule Man United out at all. They may drop off a little bit. Their game's coming up, except the Liverpool game. They've got 3 good fixtures. I think they got Burnley, Sheffield United. I think they got Fulham as well, haven't they? 3 of their next 4 games. So they've got a good run of fixtures coming up, and that Liverpool game looks to be quite a tasty fixture, I think. So I know you're nervous about that, but yeah, I don't think you can rule Man United out, and I think it'll be really interesting to see if they can stick at it.
So the ultimate question is, I will be moving to Papua New Guinea then in May, yeah?
Maybe. No, I'm not going to say definitely yet, but it might happen, George.
Should I be looking at accommodation and flights then, Dan?
Just in case, yeah.
Okay, I will be then. Well, moving away from Manchester United, moving to another club that has done well over the Christmas period is Arsenal. It was a big and important time for Arsenal and for Arteta's future, but they have delivered 3 games, 9 points, jumping up to 15 from 11. Arteta putting faith in that youth, and he was forced to do that because experienced players were out due to illness and COVID and injuries. But Dan, firstly, what a turnaround by Arteta here. Arsenal fans are now talking about getting Europe, not Championship, Europe. They're only 3 points off 8, 6 off 7 to 4th. This is absolute madness. But I think we have to say here, Arteta has worked his magic on playing the youth players, putting trust in them, and it has worked for him.
Yeah, it has. It's definitely worked for him. Sometimes you've got to rely on youth players, and he's done that, and he's put faith in them, and it's turned out well. They looked down and out, didn't they? They were in a relegation fight at the time. I think they'd just lost 4-1 to Man City in the cup. And everyone thought that what's happening to Arsenal at the moment, but they came up against Chelsea, performed well and won that, and then won their next 2, and they're in the fight again, which is madness. I think they're only 6 points off the top 4 now, which is just mental. I think Arsenal fans have definitely changed their mind about where they are, and I know a lot of them were talking about how Arteta has to go. I don't know how they still feel about that, if they think Arteta is actually the man to take them to where they want to be. I think he's always going to have a hard task, Arteta, and it'll be interesting to see how Arsenal do in the coming games, if they can keep this form up, if they can keep going at it and try and bridge that gap to the top 4. I don't think they'll get Europe this year, but it'll be interesting to see if they can keep this form up, which I think is possible. They got Palace and Newcastle coming up. That game against Man United at the end of this month looks like a good one. But yeah, a great turnaround, and Arteta's done a good job to do that. But if they can stick at it, it's going to be a tough ask, I think.
Should Arteta be playing more of the youth than the experienced players? Because they've actually fought, and we went against the Chelsea game, they actually came out of the block straight away, and they provided a lot more energy for Arsenal that they haven't seen in a long time from those experienced players, and the youth sort of put them to shame. Should Arteta be considering this youth a little bit more? And he is now. Saka's now starting. Smith-Rowe is starting a little bit more now. Aubameyang's not doing too well, and don't worry about him possibly dropping out the side to let more youth players come in. But should Arsenal push down that avenue a little bit more? Trust their youth?
Yeah, maybe. After these last few games, it might work. As you said, Emile Smith-Rowe, he's performing really well at the moment. I did see some Arsenal fans comparing him to Xavi after 3 games winning, which I think was going a bit too far. But he's still performing well. As you said, Saka, he's playing as well. He's performing well too. So I think that youth is something that Arsenal should look into. I don't think they should, play a whole youth team, because they've still got some really good strength in their squad. I know Aubameyang isn't performing very well at the moment, so maybe give him a rest. I think a rest might do him good. I think Lacazette, he scored 2 against West Brom, so maybe he can stick in that position. But I think I think youth is important, and I think with Arsenal, some of their, more experienced players in a bad run of form, they kind of just go off a little bit and don't really care about how the club, are performing. That's how it looked like to me. So I think bringing the youth in, they'll fight, and I think that can only be a good thing.
Yes, that only can be a good thing. Well, now moving on to the biggest losers this week and starting off with Chelsea. Things have gone from bad to worse over this Christmas period for Chelsea as they were dominated by Man City in a 3-1 defeat. There's now only one win in 6 games. Some worrying times for Frank Lampard. I think they've suffered that many defeats in their last 23 games, which is actually quite bonkers, but Lampard's admitted that his side is going through a tough spell. Is he feeling the pressure a little bit now? Because he hasn't beaten anybody in the top 10. This is the concerning stat here. They haven't beaten anybody in the top 10. He spent 200 million in the window. We know what Roman Abramovich is like with managers. Is he starting to breathe down his neck a little bit? Or should Lampard be getting a little more time to grow here? Because you have to think he's still an inexperienced manager. His only previous job has been Derby County for 12 months. And he's brought in players who need to gel, and a lot of those players haven't necessarily done it yet. They're quite young, and they come from leagues that they've only played one season in. And I think one Kai Havertz been out with COVID and then had the effects of long COVID. But is Roman slightly breathing down Lampard's neck a little bit here?
I think so, yeah. I think Lampard is definitely feeling the pressure, because I think after the summer that Chelsea had, I do think people thought that they were going to be, title contenders this year. The players they brought in, Timo Werner looked like a great player on paper. He hasn't been great. I think Chelsea do play him on the wing, even though he's a striker, but he hasn't been performing well. Havertz has been out for a while. He's been suffering from COVID, so he's been out for a while. And Ziyech I don't really know how well he's done. I think he hasn't really shown what he could do yet. So, yeah, I think the signings that he brought in haven't really been performing well. So I think that's why he's feeling the pressure a little bit, because, on paper, that squad should be fighting for the title, I think. But those players are just not putting in the performances that will make them do that. They've been dropping off quite quickly now. So they've got to get this run of form back on, because they'll drop away quite quickly in this league. We know how quickly teams will turn around their runs of form in this season. So you never know, that might happen to Chelsea, but with the way they're performing at the moment, it's going to be tough. But they've still got a good squad, and I think they still need to give Lampard a little bit of time. As you said, he's still relatively inexperienced. He had a year at Derby, got them to a playoff final. He got Chelsea to the top 4 in his first season. So he's still relatively inexperienced, but I still think he needs a little bit of time to see if he can make these players gel. And if he can't by the end of the season, I think then maybe they'll look elsewhere. But I think he still has a chance to turn this around.
Yes, let's hope so, because we like to see inexperienced managers do well, and he could be an upcoming manager in the future for Chelsea. Well, so moving on to the others losers this week is Liverpool. Another setback suffered in their title defence, a defeat to Southampton. Only 2 points from the last 3 games. Both Manchester clubs now have a game in hand over Liverpool. Liverpool's struggling to fire at the moment up top, as I think it's been sort of noted at the moment. There's a lack of goals coming in from the Liverpool front 3, but also at the back, 10 different combinations of centre-backs in the last 17 games for Liverpool. I think John Henderson and Fabinho started at the back this time. But Dan, I think we can say a little bit here, it's a little bit of worrying times at the moment, Liverpool, because at this time last season, I think they were 13 points clear of everybody else, and the title, they had one hand on the title.
Yeah, they did, and it's definitely a worry for them. After the 7-0 win against Palace, I was like, I think you remember me saying, I was like, this is it. Liverpool are just going to go on and win the league now. But it's not like that at all, is it? The last 3 games, poor results, draw against West Brom, draw against Newcastle, and then obviously the loss against Southampton. it's not helped. And obviously now Man United have caught up with them, and the teams behind them are catching up as well. So it's definitely a tough time for Liverpool. I think, yeah, as you said, the front three aren't really firing at the moment. I'm not sure why that is really, but it's just not working for them. I think ever since Van Dijk got injured in that game against Everton, it's been tough on especially the back four that they play. As you said, it's been different pretty much every game, and I think that's definitely having an effect. I think the injuries are definitely affecting the way the squad are playing, and it's going to be. I think it's going to be interesting to see if they stay at the top, if they can get results in their next few games. I know it's FA Cup weekend, so it's going to be another week until the next Premier League game against Man United. It's going to be that's going to be a great game. If they can win that, then I'd say they can probably go on and win the title. But if they can't win that, then it's going to be tough. I'm not going to say this game decides the title, but I think this is a big game in the title race. It really is. So it'll be really good to see who comes out best in that game, and if Liverpool can stay at the top, because this Premier League season is absolutely mental. So who knows what could happen? Sheffield United might be top by the end of the season. You never know.
Yeah, who knows? I think I might as well start searching for the cheapest flight to Papua New Guinea then at this rate. But not looking too great at the moment. But the Premier League is quite exciting. So from a neutral point of view, it's quite exciting to see. But when we come back, we're going to be talking about the FA Cup. Yes, it is back. The third round, 64 teams are in it. Let's see who wins this weekend.
The best place in Ipswich to hear the latest football debates, Pitchside Talk on IO Radio.
Welcome back to Pitchside Talk here on IO Radio. It's Fridays at 5 p.m. with me, George, and Dan, as always. Dan, I'm so eager about this. Shall we just jump straight into this one here about the FA Cup?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, the FA Cup is back. The third round, 64 teams are battling it out for a place in the fourth round, with Premier League sides and Championship teams entering the competition. These matches are happening on Friday, which is less than a few hours away from that actually happening tomorrow, on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday as well. And we're going to have a look at the standout matches from the third round. And Dan, we're going to start off with David versus Goliath. Marine, who are in the Northern Premier League, Division 1 Northwest League, which is the 8th tier of football. The lowest ranked side left in the competition, and their last match was on Boxing Day against City of Liverpool in a 2-1 victory, and they are playing on Sunday evening Spurs at the Marine Travel Arena. This is what it is. What? I know. This is kind of bonkers, really. That Marine, who are in the 8th tier of football, are playing Spurs. They are playing Jose Mourinho's Spurs. This is the magic of the FA Cup in just a game. This is the FA Cup at its best here.
Yeah, it is. What an amazing tie that is from Marine. It's so unfortunate that fans can't go and see it, because it would have been a fantastic day for them. Them fans that go and watch their local team every week. To see them play against Spurs would be a massive, massive thing for them. So it's so bad that they can't go and watch it, but still, what an absolute massive tie to go from playing a team called, what was it, City of Liverpool? Never heard of Liverpool.
Yeah.
To then going and playing Spurs, it's mental. Tier 8 versus Tier 1. Can't wait to see how it goes. Obviously, I don't think Tottenham will put out their strongest squad. I don't think anyone's expecting that. So it's still going to be massively tough for Marine to get anything from it. And I don't think we'll see an upset. But I think the fact that Marine are playing Spurs in the first place just makes it great. I don't think Marine fans and players and staff will really care what the score is, really, will they?
No.
It'll just be amazing for them that they're playing a top flight team.
I read something on an article that the Marine ain't going to be rolling out the red carpets for Tottenham. They're going to be rolling out the carpet cleaner for Tottenham. Which made me laugh, but this tie here just shows why the FA Cup is so special. It's absolutely crazy that we can have someone from the 8th tier of football playing somebody in the top tier of football in just a game for 90 minutes. I imagine if it was at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium with a full crowd. I don't know how many Marine fans would be able to travel down to that game, but it would be absolutely bonkers. But moving on to the next game, and this one is a bit more of David versus Goliath. It's Chorley who are in National League North, which is the 6th tier of English football, the second lowest ranked side left in the competition, and they are hosting Derby County. And they are going to be without their first team squad and Wayne Rooney following a COVID breakout at the training ground. And their side is going to be made up of under 23s and under 23s and under 18 players. For Chorley, Dan, I think we can say this is going to be a great opportunity for them to cause another upset. They've already beaten Wigan in the first round, League One. They've beaten Peterborough, who are League One as well, in the second round. This is a great opportunity for them to knock out another side, and especially if they're going to play under 18 and under 23 players here.
Yeah, I think this has upset written all over it, doesn't it? I think they surely have done brilliantly to get where they are, beating Wigan and then beating Peterborough as well. So going into this game against Derby with their first team not being there, it's going to be really interesting to see how they do because even the Premier League under 23 teams they play against League One clubs in the Papa John's Trophy, don't they? And they never really get through the group stage. It's very rare that happens. I think Arsenal did in our group, but the teams always seem to beat them. So surely coming up against a championship team, I think they can cause an upset. I think they'll definitely go into it thinking that there's an opportunity there, and I really hope they get into the 4th round because I think the last time a non-league club got into the 4th round, it was Lincoln, wasn't it? I don't know if there was anyone after that, but it was Lincoln after they beat Ipswich in the 3rd round. So it'll be really good to see a non-league team go that far because we haven't seen it in a few years. So I think they'll definitely go into it thinking they can win it, and let's see if they can cause an upset. I hope they do.
What about Sutton United? I can't think of that.
Oh yeah.
What were
they
they?
beat Leeds, didn't they?
They did, and then they had Arsenal, but I can't remember if that was a year after Lincoln or the year
think
before.
It was. Yeah.
I can't remember, but no, that's just something that just popped into my head there when you said that. But
yeah.
What a great opportunity here for Chorley United, and we all hope that these National League sides do well because I have to say, I love it when a National League side gets a top side this and knocks them out. I think it just makes it more entertaining, and except
when it's Lincoln v Ipswich.
Okay, except when it's that, and it's on BBC One, and we don't talk about it ever again. But this just shows us why the FA Cup is so magical, and we need this boost at the moment when it's not looking great at the moment. What's going on in the UK at the moment, but football is still here. It's going to provide some. I don't know, something nice to break away from things and forget about life and enjoy football. So yeah, that is the FA Cup that's happening today, Friday. It's happening tomorrow on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I think these ties are available on TV. I think all of them are actually available on TV, if I'm actually correct. So you can watch every single FA Cup tie if you want to. There's quite a lot of them. Good luck if you do. But when we come back, we're going to be doing a little quick football roundup as we found out who's going to be in the League Cup final in April. Ooh, interesting.
Pitchside Talk, footy debate from the Premier League Outback.
Hello and welcome back to Pitchside Talk here on iRadio's Fridays at 5 p.m. with me, George, and Dan as always. And before we move on with the show, I've been mentioning social medias, Twitter at Pitchside Talk, Instagram Talk_Pitch, YouTube and Mixcloud both at Pitchside Talk. And Dan, it's the return of the first one this year, actually, Football Roundup. Hooray.
Yes.
I've still not made a jingle or that for anything, but I don't need to. I just use my inspiration here. And I've got some football news for you this week. We now know who's going to be playing in the League Cup / Carabao Cup final. Not really too sure what it is. It's going to be Spurs versus Manchester City. Yes, Spurs are in their first League Cup final since 2008 when they won it back then. And Manchester City are in their 4th League Cup final now in a row. bonkers. This is now I think it's been pushed back to April if I'm correct. Tottenham's beat Brentford and Manchester City beat Manchester United and Manchester Derby. Boo. Who cares about that? But yeah, we now finally found out who's going to be in our first major cup final of the year, which is quite nice to know. But Dan, what news have you got for us this week?
I've got some Ipswich Town news for us. So we have a youngster called Elkan Baggett who is, well, let's say he's well liked on social media by a lot of, he's from Indonesia, so a lot of Indonesians like him. Apparently, he has turned down a professional contract at Ipswich and he's being linked with some big clubs. I think Man United, Leeds, West Ham and Everton are involved. Only rumours at the moment that he turned down a pro contract. I don't know if that's actually true, but if it is, then it looks like he could be on his way to a big club in the Premier League. He's got lots of potential, so good luck to him if he does.
Oh no. The one that got away, I think we might be saying here soon. That's a big shame because he played against Gillingham, didn't he? And he did all right in that game, I think.
Yeah, he did.
Sort of say. Oh god, that's a big shame. Well, let's hope he does stay because we want to see Ipswich Youth do well at Ipswich, and we don't want to see them do well at other clubs and go for cheap money, and then they go. Then they get sold for 50 odd million in the future, and we go, why couldn't we done that at Ipswich? We don't know. Well, Dan, we're at the end of the show, the first one for 2020.
We are.
2020?
Yeah.
2021, sorry. Oh, no. Oh, no.
No, get the years right.
Get the years right. Oh, God. We're at the end of the first show. Yeah, this has been quite nice doing it. I want to thank you very much for being on the show this week.
It's all right. It's all right.
Well, you're going to be back here next week. I've got you contracted now, haven't I?
Yeah, I don't have a choice now.
He does not have a choice, but what's coming up after us? We've got the Gap Year Show 6 till 7, the Rebus Show 7 till 9, and Flip the Switch 9 until 10. And the social medias quickly, if you want to follow us on Twitter, is at Pitch High Talk, Instagram Talk_Pitch, YouTube and Mixcloud are both at Pitch High Talk. This show will actually be out in a few minutes' time, be out at 6 o'clock if you've missed anything in the show today, and also Mixcloud as well. So I've been George. He's been Dan as always. We'll see you next week, and ciao.
Bye.
The whistle has been blown for full time. Tune in next week for another jam-packed show.